Today I want to talk about the table. For a lot of our agility dogs, this is a hard piece of equipment. We tend to think this is very easy. Our dog shouldn't have a problem at all with the table. But watch dogs in trials. Watch how many dogs get up slowly. How many dogs are very reluctant to assume a sit or a down. How many pop up out of the sit or down once they're there. And watch how many dogs are throwing a lot of stress signals. They're licking their lips. They're looking away from their handler. They're showing avoidance. They're going around the table. They're hesitating before getting on. The table can cause a lot of problems, and we tend to unfortunately respond very differently when we have problems at the table than on other pieces of equipment. If your dog were having a problem with the seesaw, we wouldn't try to make them do it. We wouldn't try to pressure them into doing it. We wouldn't be going, "Go teeter, get that teeter. I said get that teeter." But you'll often see those kind of pressure behaviors with the table. You'll see handlers using a lot of emphatic body language. Down, I said down. Loud voices. Stay, stay, stay. All these things that are putting a lot of pressure on the dog. That pressure may work in the short term, but it's going to be a bad thing in the long term. Your dog is going to learn that this is a stressful, unfun place, and they don't want to be anywhere near it. I usually see 3 problems related to the table. The number one problem is people use pressure. If you find yourself using pressure, usually 1 or 2 things have gone wrong. 1, your dog does not have a good enough understanding and ability to execute the behavior in the situation you put them in. Stays are not easy when you're in a heightened emotional state, when you're stressed about people walking behind you, crowds, other dogs. So often dogs are asked to do these behaviors when they're not ready for them. We've made it too hard, too fast. Whenever you find yourself using pressure to get your dog to do the behavior, you've probably made it too hard, too quick. You don't have a strong enough reinforcement history, your dog doesn't want to do this behavior. The other thing that sometimes you get is you get unclear. Your dog is not sure what its job is. It thinks its release is a little motion. And you'll see that as well. And people will often start using pressure. Well, if the dog's already unsure and we're using pressure on them to get them to do it, unfortunately you get in a situation where the dog is going to be more uncertain of its job. And this is, once again, making this piece of equipment less reinforcing. So, number 1, pressure. Anytime you find yourself using a loud voice, a serious tone, emphatic body language, leaning over your dog, standing in front of your dog, these are signs that you need to take a step back and look where your training program broke down, because you have a problem in your training program. You either didn't train the behavior well enough to start with, you made it too hard, too fast, you added too much duration or too many distractions, or you didn't train for other variables like the dog's heightened emotional state at trials. You may also be being unclear in what you're telling your dog. Maybe in class you always use a hand signal and you're always right here. Maybe in a trial suddenly you're behind and I'm 10 feet away from the table telling the dog to down and they're not doing it. We want to make the table fun and motivating and stress-free. This is very important if you want a good table. If it's stressy, it's not fun, you're not going to have good performance. We know that from every other piece of equipment out here. So don't introduce those factors into your training program. I'm going to talk about training the table. I'm going to talk about, this is a lot of fix it. If you have problems, these are some things you can do to fix it. I'm going to assume that you've already taught a basic stay and that your dog knows sit and down. In other videos, I cover how to teach those. But we'll talk about how to make this a rewarding, fun, exciting place for your dog where they want to get on that table and they want to assume they're down and they want to stay there for a 5 count. And that'll be covered in future episodes.